Skyh Black, welcome to Jason Unleashed. Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Happy New Year. Good to see you too, man. And I was waiting to do this until we went on air. I just want to say, man, I'm so proud of you, bro. Like, I am really so proud of you. Like, I spoiled it, but we were in the dance community together. We were dancers back in going to those auditions, and to see you now too, man. Kudos. I'm very proud of you, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, look, you are killing the game. 2023 was a big year for you. Great show.
Wow, yeah.
You
Thank
also
you.
you also got
Thank you.
married. How's marital bliss?
I love it. I really do. I mean, I'm so speechless because Kay and I work so well together. It's kind of like I'm in a dream most days, and our power, I will say together, our power, tongue twister, has just gotten like bigger and bigger, and we're closer every day. She's my soulmate, man. I love that girl so much. That woman, I'm not gonna say girl, but I love that woman so much. It's ridiculous.
You
Yeah.
can tell from, I mean, the spread in New York Times to what you guys share on social to just how you've been so giving of your love to your community, to your fans, to your people, to your family. It's emblematic of the love that you both have and you found within each other. You guys met on the set of Sisters, another great show from Tyler
We
Perry.
did.
And now here you are. We talk about like we were talking about lifing. Talk about lifing.
We did. It's so funny. We joke. We said we met in a pandemic and got married during a strike.
It was meant to be. That's how you know it was the
And
divine.
we were meant to be, yet we prevailed, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, man. I met her on the set of Sisters, like you said, and after the show, once I got all the Queen's Men, she was so gracious. She actually hit me up and said, "Hey, I'm gonna. Do you need any help?" And because leading a show is a big responsibility, and I said, "Yeah, well, let me take you out, and we can discuss it." And we've been together since our first date, which
I
is
love
January
that.
7th.
True love
Yeah.
exists. True love exists. All the Queen's Men, season 3
Yeah,
rolls
all the Queen's
on.
Men.
Okay, first of all,
Yes.
AMP fan favorite. I mean, 37 episodes. You're coming up on 40 episodes, 3 seasons of this show. Where do we find AMP now?
Oh man, we find AMP right now. Well, I'll say where we find AMP at the end of season 3A. We find at the end AMP is on a path of destruction due to being hurt. A lot of times I feel as men, we don't get to discuss mental health and
Mhm.
how important that is, and also um, seeking therapy or having someone to talk to or dealing with your feelings or actually identifying. AMP has a touch of bipolarity.
Mhm.
And it's very explored through season 3A, because you get to see, I always say season 3A, you get to see the AMP, which shows you why he even went into prison in the first place.
Sure.
So season 3B, the only thing I can say is that, does AMP finally start to take accountability for AMP's BS, or does he play victim still to a
Got it.
degree and self-sabotage? Gotta watch to find out.
You got to watch to find out. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that notion about mental health with men, especially in the Black community. And then, the layer of,
Especially in the Black community.
right, bipolarity. People think that, I mean, there's multiple types of bipolar diagnosis, and people think that when
Mhm.
you're bipolar, you are crazy. And I hate to use that word because people weaponize that word against people with mental illness, that they're crazy. And they also gaslight those
Mhm.
who are reaching out for help. But for Tyler and people in the writer's room to have AMP go through this and have that be part of his arc in season 3B, I think is very responsible. And it's relatable for a lot of people who don't see that type of story told by people who look like me and you.
Totally agree, man. Totally agree. And the thing I'll be honest, the thing I've loved, and it's feels good to have a conversation like an old friend, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the best thing that I love about playing AMP, honestly, is the responses that I get from men 18 to about 30 in the street, like when I see them, and especially like in the southern region where it's not even really preached for us to even seek therapy or deal with mental health, I get from these young men, yo, you're telling my story.
Wow.
Yo, I understand it. Wow. I mean, and you wouldn't even believe I walked in a Walmart, bro, and
Oh,
this guy
Walmart.
that you would never expect, how he was like, and he said, hey, excuse, I'm not gonna say it on air, but he was at my amp. Like he said my guy amp, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I was just like, whoa, you watched the show? He was like, yeah, man, you did this and I feel this. And I was just like, and I keep hearing young black men say, I feel, I feel, I feel. And I love for us to be able to say, I feel, because I'm gonna be honest, we don't get to feel in the real world.
Well, I mean, I feel since I've known you and watching your career progress and also seeing you play Amp, you've also brought elements of your own struggle into the character. I mean, you were living out of a car, doing all these things while you were on tour and working for some of the biggest names in the business, Beyonce, Mariah Carey. I mean, you have your own story,
Wow.
I think I would imagine that you took some of those experiences and said, okay, cool, let art imitate life and let me apply this. Let me apply that relatability, that realness, that real life lived experience into the character. I think that's why you leap off the screen when we see you as Amp. I'm sure Tyler saw that about you.
Oh man, Jason, you ah wow, man. Yeah, yeah. I really honestly amp sits so deep in my soul, especially 3 seasons in. And I'm trying not to get
No, it's
emotional.
okay. It's okay, man.
No, no,
This is
no.
real.
Yeah, yeah, man. Those times of, you're auditioning and you're on tour, but you can't survive.
Right.
You can't eat because the check hasn't come yet. And yeah, man, I remember those days. And that definitely goes into amp sometimes when it's kind of like season 3A, I felt like amp was just so much in it, and I felt this in my life, as you know, being an artist in this particular industry. Um, when the forest is so dark, you can't see the light.
I know. Yeah.
And like just living amp, and I remember those times. It's crazy that you brought it up. I guess that did go a lot into my work, because I always said, why do I feel this so deeply?
Mhm.
Why do amp? Because amp is real to me. Like amp is not. You never see Skyh and amp. We don't even talk the same. Like his cadence is totally different than mine. His voice is deeper than mine. Um, he literally possesses me, but there's a part of me where it's just like, oh my gosh, this feeling hurts so much because I've experienced this in real life.
Right. And that's the gift.
I may not have killed anyone. I haven't done this, but I've experienced this feeling of hopelessness. And what happens when there is no more faith to have?
Wow.
You
When you
know what I
run out of
mean?
faith. Yeah. Yeah,
When you
man.
run out of faith, what happens?
Right.
And
Right.
how do you get that back? And I feel that's where Amp sits, and that's what we're gonna see his journey be. How do you get faith when you feel there's nothing left?
Wow. This, first of all, thank you for sharing. Thank you for revealing. Thank you for being real. This is what Jason Unleash is about, for us to unleash
Whew.
all of this
You
and
got
talk
me, man.
about it.
You
And talk
got me this
about
morning, bro.
you
Oh
are
my gosh.
you are incredible. If you could sum up this new season, season 3B of All the Queen's Men that we're going to enjoy and love in one word, what would you say it is?
Season 3B, I would say, is groundbreaking for the series.